by reforming our tax code. We have to be strong, working to create jobs by reducing red tape. And we need to keep our eye on the target, a secure future, by balancing the budget.
Those are campaign ads for my two next guests. After months of promises on the campaign trail, will lawmakers be able to make the tough choices needed to craft the bipartisan deal to avoid the fiscal cliff? Joining me now, Wisconsin Republican Congressman Sean Duffy and Arizona Democratic Congresswoman-elect Ann Kirkpatrick, who is actually coming back to Congress after losing 2 years ago. Welcome to both of you. Congressman Duffy, let me start with you. The news about Tom Cole and his the case that he's making, your colleague from Oklahoma, Republican, that says, you know what, take the president's deal on the middle class tax rates and live to fight another day. Where are you?
Well, I think this is a minority position within the party. A lot of us have said we'll talk about revenue, which is what the president talked about on the campaign trail. But we're still waiting for the president to lean forward, to lean into the negotiation table and talk about what he's willing to do with regard to spending cuts and fixing and saving our entitlement system. So we're willing to have that conversation. But right now, just to raise taxes, and for me, I'm from rural Wisconsin. Those tax increases, they go on my small businesses, my small manufacturers, the people who employ people in central and northern Wisconsin, my hardworking family. So that's a tough pill to swallow,
well,
especially if you're not going further to fix the debt crisis that's on our horizon.
Well, but Cole's argument is simply, hey, take that issue off the table. Politically, you're letting the president hammer the Republicans, if you will, hammer you on looking like you're protecting the top 2% with that stance. Take that off the table, then you can have the real debate that you want to have.
Well, I mean, Chuck, we have to go back and what was the president talking about during the campaign? I mean, he was talking about a balanced approach. And that balanced approach to fix this $1 trillion deficit year over year was one where you reduce spending, fix entitlements, and raise revenue. And everyone has to sit together to fix that problem. This is not just about tax increases, which does very little to fix the debt problem. This is about a global solution that will save the next generation from a lower standard of living.
All right, Congresswoman Kirkpatrick, I know that with Republicans, the tough pill they have to swallow is on taxes. For Democrats, the tough pill may be changes in Medicare. The campaign ad that we ran had to do with you making a pledge about keeping sort of, essentially making the case you're going to keep Medicare, Social Security sort of out of this fiscal argument. Is that where you stand? Could you support changes in Medicare, like raising the eligibility age, tougher aspects to means testing in order to get a larger deal?
You know, I support keeping Medicare as it is. Our seniors have earned that right, and it's a system that works well for them. It is a balancing, and we have some tough economic issues to look at and to figure out, and I'm looking for good ideas, Chuck. But let me say this. One thing that seems to be lost in this balancing right now is jobs. We still need jobs in America. We still need jobs in my district. And so part of the conversation has to be, let's not do anything that increases unemployment or moves us in the opposite direction. Now, my colleague-to-be, Mr. Duffy, and current members of Congress are going to have some tough choices in the next 30 days. It's going to take a lot of political courage. But I know there are many good men and women in Congress, thoughtful, who want to solve this problem. But it's not easy. The American people elected us to make those tough decisions.
I understand. Well, let's then take a tough, could you, if Medicare, if the price of a balanced approach includes some big changes to Medicare, at least on the eligibility age, could you support something like that reluctantly? Nobody says you have to like it, but can you support something you don't like in a case like this?
Not when it comes to protecting our seniors, Medicare, and Social Security, but there are other issues we need to look at. But let me just throw out one idea. We're talking about giving and keeping the tax cuts for people, middle-class people who make $250,000 or less. My idea is let's make it $500,000 or less. So let's come up with some new ideas. Let's have that kind of dialogue.
Well, let me get you, Congressman Duffy, just to respond to that. On this tax rate conversation, you bring up the small businesses. If you raise the threshold to 500,000, is that something you're more comfortable with?
But let me tell you what. What you have us do here is negotiating with ourselves.
I know.
I'm willing to talk about revenue, but we have to say, where is the president? Where are Ann's colleagues coming in to say we'll put ideas on the table too? When we talk about Medicare, we're all clear. Everyone wants to preserve and protect Medicare for our seniors, those who are about to retire. The changes we talk about are for the next generation of retirees, and we have to acknowledge Medicare is going broke. It can't stay the same way that it is today, or it won't exist. So let's solve that problem now, so we don't have to deal with it when it's a bigger problem 5, 10, 20 years from now. And on the tax front, I mean, again, the small businesses are the ones who pay these higher rates. The wealthier Americans, they have high-priced lawyers and accountants, and they use all the loopholes to not pay taxes. So you raise those rates, you don't get the really wealthy. You're getting the small business guys, the small manufacturers, who are the ones that are creating jobs in our district. So I think this has to be the point, though. The president has to get off the campaign trail. He has to come. He has to sit down and go, I am going to lead. I ran on leading. I ran on being bold. I'm going to tell you what the solution is to get both sides to come together and get a resolution that works for the American people.
Congresswoman Kirkpatrick, I want to ask you this question that I always ask to people that win, then lose, then win again. What lesson did you take in your loss that you're taking back, that you believe you're taking back in winning a seat back in Congress?
Well, you know, I always worked really hard to get to know all my colleagues so that we could come up with good ideas and solutions. I'll continue to do that. One of the nice things is I do know a lot of members of Congress right now. I just met Mr. Duffy. We both come from very large rural districts. I'm sure we have a lot of similar issues, but I just want to leave this thought, Chuck. You know, it's been said that innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. I'm looking for innovative ideas that will carry us into the 21st century and for the next generation. But partisan gridlock is not helping. We need to set that behind us. Let's look for good ideas that are not partisan ideas for the good of America and our country. Thank you.
Well, you both sound like you come from swing districts, and you do from my understandings of the map. Congressman Duffy, Congresswoman-elect Kirkpatrick, thanks for coming on together this morning.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Chuck.